Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a full breakdown of my recent road trips, covering everything from the route, the car's performance, fuel efficiency, and of course, the overall experience. But first, let me give you a quick overview of the trips I took. Let's go. I drove from Cape Town to Nelspruit in just 24 hours. Then I took a short trip from Nelspruit to Mbuzini. After that, I crossed borders driving from Eswatini to Mozambique and then back to Nelspruit. Then I drove from Nelspruit to Durban on a single full tank. Lastly, I took the long drive from Durban to Gqeberha, slept over, and the next morning made my way back to Cape Town. Through all this, I was driving the Hyundai i30N DCT, which I call Mbuzini. So, let's start with the first trip. Cape Town to Nelspruit in just 24 hours. This trip was extremely challenging because I covered over 1,832 kilometers in 19 hours. It was supposed to take less than 19 hours, but due to a delay in Worcester, I found myself stuck for over 3 hours. Once I managed to get back on track, the i30N impressed me. It was really moving. Keep in mind, you'll encounter a lot of trucks on the N1. But at the i30N's and green shift, I was overtaking them with ease. My experience on this drive was very good. A couple of road constructions did eat up some time, but other than that, the trip was a great experience and I have nothing to complain about. With plenty of breaks and lots of driving, I eventually arrived in Nelspruit. For this trip, I spent 3,592 on fuel and 430 Rand on toll gate. Since I drove straight through without stopping overnight, I saved a bit of money. By the way, I don't recommend anyone try this kind of trip in one go. It's very strenuous and tiring, especially when you're alone. The fuel efficiency wasn't great due to all the overtaking and other factors, so I averaged 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers with an average of 96 kilometers an hour over the total distance of 1,832 kilometers. The next trip was a shorter one from Nelspruit to Mbuzini. For those who don't know, I'm originally from Mbuzini. That's where I grew up and where my family is from. This trip was particularly exciting because it was the first time my car would be going home, touching the soul of where I originate. It was an easy and relaxed drive, taking me through some quieter roads, but the scenery was stunning. As they say, Mpumalanga is known for its beauty. The trip was 140 kilometers and my full tank went down 3/4 to like 75%. Since I was cruising at a nice slow pace, my fuel consumption was 7.2 liters per 100 kilometers. However, it increased slightly because from a place called Gamhlushwa to another place called Oyi, I had to slow down constantly for speed humps. If I was to count the number of speed humps there, I would even lose count. Now let's talk about the drive from Swaziland to Mozambique and back to South Africa. Crossing borders always adds a layer of complexity, especially when driving in another country. However, having a tracker from CarTrack installed in my car gave me peace of mind throughout these crossings. Here's the thing, CarTrack provides real-time vehicle tracking through an app that is available on iOS, Android, and powered devices. This was incredibly useful during our cross-border travel into Swaziland and Mozambique because my sister could easily track our movements and ensure we weren't stuck in unsafe areas thanks to the CarTrack's cross-border tracking feature. This allowed her to monitor my vehicle's location even if I was in a different country. This feature is also helpful in day-to-day situations as I can always see my car's location through the app, giving me peace of mind at any moment. Another cool feature is that CarTrack is known for its advanced fitment techniques. You wouldn't even know the device is there. It's hidden so well, which is great for added security. The company has an over 90% recovery rate, which has been externally audited, so you know you're in good hands. If your car is ever stolen, they have theft recovery services with ground and air units ready to recover a vehicle. And let's be honest, that's a huge relief when you're traveling in unfamiliar territories or living in South Africa, as car theft crimes have been rising over the years. CarTrack also has a feature called Car Watch. Imagine having this as a personal guide for your car in your back pocket. You can activate it when you park somewhere sketchy or if you are worried about leaving your vehicle unattended. If you are looking for a peace of mind when it comes to vehicle safety, especially when crossing borders like I did, I highly recommend checking out CarTrack. You can get a free quote and free installation if you sign up. Just follow the link in the description or the link pinned in the comments below. As for the drive itself, I was with my brother on this one, and our aim was to have breakfast in Eswatini, lunch in Mozambique, and dinner back in South Africa. Our experience in Eswatini was amazing, the people were great, and everything went smoothly. The roads are generally good, though you'll encounter potholes there and there. Overall, Eswatini was a great experience. Mozambique, on the other hand, was a mixed bag. The problem started at the border, where we had to bribe the police officers for no apparent reason. It was just something you do for vibes. We had all the required documentation, everything was in order, but still we had to bribe. Then we were forced to give someone a lift who didn't speak the same language, so there was a communication barrier. By the way, some people have asked what documents are needed to cross into another country. You will need a passport, a valid driver's license, a car registration certificate, and if your car is financed, you will need a cross-border letter from your bank stating that you are allowed to travel with the car for the period of the time you'll be abroad. Also, you will have to pay for some car insurance at the border, which is an extra cost that can be a bit confusing. The route we took into Mozambique was from the Eswatini side, where the roads were very bad. Mbuzini had to handle over 20 kilometers of gravel roads from a place called Gqeberha to the road leading to Mbuzini, but it handled the rough terrain like a champ. I have to give it 6 out of 10 they tried. Police visibility in Mozambique is intense, so always try to stay on the safe side. When we reached Maputo, we had lunch, but it was a mess because there was an issue there with the currency and the cards working. If you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. But eventually we finished the lunch and then we made our way back to Nelspruit. The border was chaotic because trucks had blocked all the lanes, making it a complete mess, which explains my brother's rant in that video. All in all, Maputo is a nice place and you can see the development happening, but the constant police interaction make traveling less enjoyable for tourists. The trip covered 647 kilometers and the car averaged 8.2 liters per 100 kilometers with over 11 hours of driving. The cost wasn't too bad. We spent around 1,200 for a full tank, roughly 700 rand on bribes and border fees, and about 2,800 rand on food across the different countries. Next up was a trip from Nelspruit to Durban. After the Cape Town to Nelspruit trip, where some people complained about the car's fuel efficiency, I decided to challenge myself and complete this one with just one full tank to show that the i30N can be efficient when driven properly. This drive was straightforward, but for nostalgia, I decided to go through Eswatini at Oshuk and Gqeberha. Growing up, we used to take this route to Durban for holidays with my family, so I thought, why not relive that experience? Eswatini wasn't kind this time because it was raining, and by the time I got back to South Africa, Mbuzini had changed from white to brown from all the mud. Eventually, I arrived in Durban and on that one full tank with some kilometers still left on the range. This trip was special to me because it brought back memories of my childhood holidays in Durban with my family. I thoroughly enjoyed the drive and honestly have nothing to complain about. For this trip, I spent 1,243 on petrol, 2,600 rand on accommodation, and 91 rand on toll gates. The total distance was 704 kilometers and I averaged 7.1 liters per 100 kilometers, with the journey taking me 9 hours and 39 minutes. The final trip in the series was my drive from Durban to Gqeberha, where I spent the night before heading back to Cape Town, where the journey originally started. The trip began well, but things got challenging after Port Edward. The N2 isn't in the best condition and the roads in that area are quite mountainous, so you'll find yourself driving up and down hills. The i30N struggled a lot, especially on the Eastern Cape side. If you are planning to take the N2 route from Durban to PE or East London, be prepared to be patient. Another issue was the number of animals on or near the road, which forced me to drive more slowly, especially after seeing a few accidents involving animals. I had to be extra cautious. They are also working on resurfacing much of the N2 and some provincial roads, so I encountered a few stop and go sections. One thing I really disliked was the type of speed humps they use at construction sites. They are a nightmare for a local like the i30N. Other than those challenges, the drive from PE went fine. Though I wasn't impressed with the place, I stayed for the night, and if you've seen the video, you'll know why. The next day's drive from PE to Cape Town was smooth and enjoyable, but I was exhausted, which is why the video was so short, guys. So please, I know most of you are bashing me about that video, but yeah, tough good turns, good tricks. If you are planning a similar trip, I recommend you give yourself more time to complete it, unlike what I did. I didn't get to fully enjoy what these cities have to offer because I was rushing. So for all these road trips, the i30N traveled 6,547 kilometers, and throughout the entire journey it averaged 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers, and the total time that it was on the road is 99 hours 59 minutes. So let's break down the cost of these recent road trips. I've got the numbers right here. Fuel came in at 10,242. Toll gates cost me 1,054. Food for the entire trips was like 4,250, and accommodation totaled 2,754. That brings the overall total to 19,300. I might have missed some amount somehow, but roughly the totals that I got from my banking apps, it goes up to 19,300 rand. Am I gonna make the money back through YouTube? We shall wait and see. Now let me talk about the reason my car broke down. So if you guys would have seen, when I was traveling from Cape Town to Nelspruit, the car was on empty. I had driven it to like 15 kilometers because I wanted to get like the accurate number of the total accurate cost in terms of the fuel that I was going to use for the trip. So if you remember, that time the vehicle was on empty. So that's the first time. So the second time when I got home, it was already on empty. Then I had to fill it up again. And then the third time was when I was going to Mozambique with my brother. It was on empty. And even when I came back from Mozambique, it was on empty. And then when I had to go to Durban, it was on empty. And then when I had to leave Eastern Cape again, it was on empty. So if you count the amount of instances where the car was on empty, there are a lot. So that ended up destroying my fuel pump, which is why the car died. The car stopped on the road because the fuel pump had given up. And it's because of all of these instances where I was leaving the car with so much little fuel. So any advice to anyone that's out there, this thing of why I know my car, just stop it, because at the end of the day, you'll find yourself having a similar problem I had. On my side, luckily, Hyundai did a good job with the car. They took very good care of me on that side. I cannot blame them on anything. They managed to source me a fuel pump, which was going to take like 4 weeks. They managed to get it for me within a week. So I would give a big shout out to Hyundai N1 City. They did a good job on that. They managed to get me a new pump and install it, and the car has been good ever since. I haven't had issues. It was back after 1 week from that day you guys saw on the other video. I think it was only gone for that week. Then the next week I got the car back. So the car is fine, it's good, it has a new fuel pump. And some of you guys were asking if I paid any amount to get the car fixed. No, I didn't pay anything. Hyundai took care of everything with their warranty and everything, so I didn't have to pay a single cent. But all I can say is to anyone out there, stop this thing about I know my car. I never used to believe it. A lot of people always said this thing, but at that time I wasn't bothered by it because I don't drive my car to empty. Every time I drive my car to empty is because of a video or something that I want to show to you guys, which is, for example, all of these instances I'm mentioning where the car was on empty was because I wanted to get the actual cost for the trips and stuff like that. So normally I don't do it. I don't do that. The moment my car gets to 100 kilometers range, I make sure I fill it up. So always try and do the same so that you don't have the same issue with your fuel pump. So my car is back, everything is fine. The Mbuzini is back, it's nice, there's no issues with that, it's fixed. I didn't pay a cent, and that's it for that. Okay, so for the final part, I posted a question on the community tab so that you guys can ask me some questions and then I can be able to answer them. So I'll just be answering those questions on this part. Mr. Elton Arenta asked, would you do it again with the i30N? And the answer is, I don't think so. But I can still travel, do a road trip from here to Nelspruit to go home. I would do that. It would be, I saw that it's something that could be easily done, so that I can do. But to then go around in roads or in areas I'm not familiar with, I don't think so, because I abuse that car. So some of the trips are not very nice to the car and to me. So some of them I would, some of them I wouldn't, I would say. Official JM asked, can you also cover the preparation you had to take, especially with the car? Excuse me, did you need to take it for service before the trips? Did the trips take a toll on the car? So yeah, I didn't have to take the car for service. So when I left Cape Town, I think my car was on 20,000 or something like that, because now it's on 27,000 kilometers. So it was on 20,000 kilometers. So I had already done a service for 15,000 kilometers. So I didn't have to do any service on the car. There's nothing, it didn't take any toll on the car other than the fuel pump issue, which is what I've already explained in the video, what caused it. So nothing I had to do or prepare for in terms of the car. So Chuchu Kumani said, how many kilometers in total did the whole trip put on Ipubes? So the whole trip was 6,547 kilometers. Jama SA asked, I would be interested on knowing how do you plan for a trip where you have to stop and take some scenario videos, drone shots have been made along the trip, and also including rest areas along the trip. I would much appreciate. I'm not gonna lie to you and try to act here like I'm the boss of this thing. I just wing it on my side. I just wing it. So for example, if I have to take a drone shot, I'll be driving and then I start looking. If I don't get to see a lot of cars passing, that means the road is not busy at that time. So I then decide I'm gonna take a stop and then do the scenario shots and stuff like that. That's why if you look at most of them that I do, there's not a lot of cars around. So that's how I decide that when it comes to stop, if I see a stop and I feel tired, I just stop. Or if I feel I'm tired now, I look for the next stop and then I stop. There isn't much that I plan. I just decide I'm going to this location and then I haul it along the way. I just decide whatever that comes up and then I do it. I don't plan anything on my side. PC Literacy said, how did you keep yourself active when alert? Usually in such long trips, drivers travel in pairs or cut trips in traveling segments, but sometimes travel solo and take short breaks. On my side, I'm used to traveling long distance. I wouldn't say long distance, but I'm used to traveling like distances. So once you get used to something, it ends up being like a norm to you. So I don't know how to say it, but yeah. So there's nothing that I have to do to keep myself active. If I'm driving, I'm driving. I can drive straight for 12 hours with no break or anything and I'll still be fine. But I'll definitely have to keep on switching myself and moving around the car, like in terms of my sitting position and all that. But it is something I'm used to, I guess. So there isn't something special. And then I drink some energy drinks when I feel tired. But it's not something I recommend doing this thing. That's why you never seen me doing any of this. It was just to do this road trip series and then see how far I can go with it and all of this thing, like challenge myself. But other than that, it's not something I'll do every day. That is why even coming back, you saw how many stops I had to take before I could get to Cape Town, because now I was trying to travel in a more way that most people would travel, not the stream of trying extreme things. So yeah. Just Libo asked, do you recommend this type of trips? If so, why? And what are some of the do's and don'ts you would recommend on such long road trips? I do recommend that people travel and get to experience South Africa. You can't always be where you are from or where you're staying or wherever. You just have to go around and travel and see other places and see how other people live and all that. There's no do's and don'ts. Just try and make sure you are driving according to the legal limit and you're not catching on car, then you'll be fine, man. The other things, it's going to be different for everyone. So you see. And then Andile Smelana said, among 3 countries, what would you like each country can copy from each other? Like what Swaziland can copy from Mozambique and SA as well as others. I would say Mozambique has to copy from Swaziland and South Africa in terms of border situation, how to deal with borders, and also how everything is done in the border. Swaziland and South Africa, very good. Mozambique, the absolute worst. So yeah, I've reached the end of the questions. There's no other questions that were put on the post. So yeah. To everyone that watched and got this far, thank you very much. I appreciate every one of you guys, and I also appreciate the support that you guys have shown on the road trip videos. They've been performing they've been performing well, some of them. So thank you very much for watching, liking and commenting on the videos. Some people are always saying I'm rude and harsh. Hey guys, meaning I'm Swati and as Maswati, that's how we talk, or that's how we comment, or that's how we speak. So if someone reads the comments and finds my answers offending, I just brush it off, man. It's just how we are. Maswati don't understand. Swati people will understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and guys, make sure you click on the link in the comments and you get a code if you're interested in that. And also make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. The aim this year is to get to 100k and everything. So you guys are the only ones that can help me achieve that. So please drop a follow in all of these accounts right here. And don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. And if you've got new content ideas, drop them in the comments below. As you guys have seen from the previous video, I moved into a new place, so don't worry about videos of that. I'm gonna do them already, like tours, like day in the lives, all of those things. I'll still be doing that. And then the Extra Squad is also coming back, so stay tuned for that. Also drop a follow there and subscribe here. And yeah, new ideas of things that I've never posted. If you guys want to see those kind of things, make sure you drop them below. But yeah, to everyone that watched, thank you very much. And also I've introduced a membership for the channel, so if you are a member, you are most likely going to get to watch some of these videos earlier before the others. So if you're interested, you can join the membership. It's $20. You'll most probably get the videos on Friday or something like that usually drop on Sunday, so you'll get to watch them early, and then you'll also get shoutouts on the videos, and then you'll also get priority replies on the comments that you drop if you have questions and stuff like that. So other than that, thank you very much. As Mr. How Much always say, subscribe and support. Show support to local YouTube, guys. It's the right thing to do. I butchered that one, but thank you very much. GG's, cheers, bye bye. Way.